Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to do a very quick 26-month update on Red Sea Reefer 250. So first, I'm just going to remind you, give you a recap. So last month, things were good, but I had issues with two corals losing a lot of color. This Shockaholic, which was bright fluorescent green, and my famous Miyagi tort, which was just had like crazy green, pink, and blue. And you know, I didn't really know what the cause was. I had some issues with stability in terms of alkalinity and dosing, and I've been trying to correct them. But it really bugged me that these two corals, which were really nice, were not doing too well. So I posted a couple of a link on Reef to Reef just to kind of get the community to help me troubleshoot. And of course, every time you try to kind of post a problem on the internet, you get like some really awful diagnosis, right? It's like if you're getting sick and you post something on WebMD and before you know it, you think that you have cancer or something. Well, so that's what happened. So as soon as I posted pictures of these two corals, I immediately got feedback saying, okay, well, you have like Acropora eating flatworms or some kind of awful pest. And you know, I've actually took frags off of these colonies and put them under the microscope, and I saw nothing. But I got really worried, so I actually chopped this colony in half. You could kind of see where it broke, and I took this big half here to the right, and I did a dip and revive, and I looked under the microscope, fearing the worst. But you know, nothing came out. You'll see the video of the dip here. There was no red bugs. There was no flatworms. Like just the tank, the coral was clean. It looks like crap. But it's not pest related. So that was a relief in a sense, in that, well, okay, I'm not worried about pests in my tank, but it was still frustrating because I'm still worried about these two corals not looking great. And then somebody posted, actually, Macarol, I think, or Macarol? M. Carol, who also helped me with my Dino problem. M. Carol, you're a guru, man. So M. Carol suggested that maybe it's a matter of flow, and this coral is kind of in a nook, and you actually, if you haven't noticed already, that I did some re-scaping. And my Miyagi tort was way back in the corner and it was higher up. And these are kind of, you know, they're dead spots. So that coral was like right to the back. And this coral was actually being blocked by a bigger boulder. And I only have two MP10s and they're running at full capacity and I'm getting 50x. But M. Carol suggested that maybe like there's like dead spots and I'm getting loss of like the corals are just not getting enough flow to get them food, and also to remove like mucus buildup and all of that. So to that end, I decided to do two things. One is to boost the flow, and you know, actually boosting the flow was something that has been on my mind for a while, because you know, as the colonies get bigger, they kind of restrict flow. So in an SPS colony, you have to kind of compensate by adding more flow as the colonies grow. But I didn't think I was at that point yet. So I debated a bit about how I'm going to boost flow. And after, you know, actually, first a big shout out to Pelfrey. You know, he has his own. Well, of course, you guys know he has his own YouTube channel, and he's really active on the forums and on Instagram. So I messaged him because he runs two gyres, and I'm really intrigued by the gyres. So I asked him about his experience, and his experience was pretty positive. So I went ahead and I got two XF 230 gyres, which you see I mounted on the sides of the overflow here. And yeah, you know, I know there's a little bit overkill, but I thought that with these two gyres where they're placed right now, there's essentially no more, there should be no more dead spots in my tank. I'm getting water kind of moving side to side by the MP10s, and then the gyres are kind of circulating water around in both these directions. But when I first installed the gyre, this boulder, this is where I aquascaped. This was actually high up, so my Miyagi tort was essentially like in the direct flow of the gyre. So what I did is I took this boulder right here, and I essentially I did a big water change, about 10 gallons, and I kept the water that the dirty water that I normally would chuck out, and I put it in a big brute outside, and I took this whole piece and this whole piece and put them in there. And I got up my saw and my chisel, and I removed a third of this rock. So I literally just cut a big chunk of it. So now it's much shorter and it's in line with the rest of the aquascape, and it's no longer blocking the path of the gyre. And I also took this rock and I chopped it down a little bit, and I changed the orientation, creating essentially this distinct island. So there's actually two pieces of rocks here. There's one and there's two. This got rotated a little bit, but now I have this distinct island where there is clear space on all four sides, so it's no longer blocking flow. So water from the gyre could hit in the front and go from around this side and around this side and up to the back. I didn't worry about this side so much because this side is already kind of had that has that island shape where there is water flow could go all around the structure. So yeah, I'm still, you know, this happened last weekend, but I'm starting to see bits of color back on my Shakaholic. Like if you look at, you know, it's not where it was, but certainly it's starting to green up a little bit. And I'm starting to see, it's a little bit hard to make it in the pictures here, but I'm starting to see some of that green fluorescence coming back on my Miyagi tort. So I'm taking that as a positive. Obviously, having more flow in an SPS tank is always, I think, a good thing. The gyres have been on the tank for about a week and a half now, and you know, I like them. So what I really like about them is I'm running both of these two gyres on a single controller with a single power plug, so that's a good thing. So the only negative that I find with the gyres so far is that they're loud. I have them alternating on alternating gyre mode, where they're pumping water forward at 30% capacity, and then after about 30 seconds of that, they stop and they reverse and they shoot water down at 50% output, and that goes on for another 30 seconds, and then every minute it cycles back. So I do clearly hear them ramping up and down relative to like the MP10s, where they're running most of the time near 80% and I don't hear anything. So just first impressions, the gyres are louder than the MP10. But you know, I was worried that they're gonna kind of look pretty awkward in the tank, because I don't like to kind of see things in my tank, but they actually, in the back, they blend in really well. So you can kind of don't really notice that they're there. So we'll see whether they quiet down. I know from Pelfrey's experience, it took a while for them to kind of break in, I guess, and quiet down. But for me, they're a week and a half in the tank. They're still pretty loud. So that's it, guys. I'm just gonna make it short and sweet. So we'll stay tuned, and I'll update you in another month. Thanks so much, and please like, comment, and subscribe.